It's 3 a.m. and half a village is gone. All murdered by the same man, Mitsuo Toi. In Mitsuo's head, it was the only way he could get his revenge before he would die from his sickness. But why did Mitsuo want revenge? What could the villagers have done to make him commit this horrible massacre? Could this have been prevented? This is the Tsuyama Massacre. Today's case takes place in Japan. Japan is known to be a pretty safe country, and it is. In fact, if you were to search up the safest countries in the world, Japan would be on that list. However, on those rare occasions that murders do happen in Japan, they always tend to be insane. But insane doesn't even cut it for the case we will be talking about today. Now, today's case isn't recent, to be fair. This case takes place in the early 1900s. At this time, Japan was still developing with a government that was not yet modernized and no laws yet in place prohibiting weapons. As you guys might know, Japan does not allow you to have a gun. I'm actually not sure about swords. Let me actually look that up. Okay, so they can own swords, but they are not allowed any guns. In fact, even if you're a policeman, it's really hard to have a gun. This case happens in Kamo, a small village close to Tsuyama in the Okayama prefecture. And this is where Mitsuo lived. Mitsuo Toi was born on the 5th of March, 1917, to some pretty well-off parents. Unfortunately, at an early age, both of Mitsuo's parents died of tuberculosis, which ended up leaving him and his sister alone. Fortunately though, Mitsuo's grandma would end up taking them in and taking care of them and raising them. Growing up, Mitsuo was known to be very smart and outgoing, and in general a very fun person to be around. Growing up, Mitsuo and his sister had a very strong bond and they were inseparable. But as time passed, his sister would end up getting married and would end up leaving Mitsuo on his own. This would mark the turning point for Mitsuo. It was during this time after his sister left that Mitsuo would take some really weird interests and participate in some very creepy stuff, to say the least. Mitsuo would begin to participate in the creepy practice named yobai. Yobai is an old Japanese practice where an unmarried man would sneak into an unmarried woman's house in the middle of the night while she's sleeping to ask for sex. And if the woman consented, well, you know what happens. This would actually sometimes end up with those two people, getting married in the long run. Mitsuo would continue to do this many times with many different women for years until the day he was stopped, and we'll get into that. Mitsuo also had a fascination with Sada Abe. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Sada Abe was a geisha and a woman of the night who strangled her lover who was cheating on his wife while he was seeing Sada, and then cut his crotch off and would put it under her kimono and would wear it around. The Sada Abe case is also very interesting. I looked into it a little bit and it is pretty crazy, so if you guys would like me to do that case as well, or do a video on that case, let me know. But yeah, these were just some of the weird things and creepy things that he was interested in. But like I said, something stopped Mitsuo from practicing yobai. Mitsuo began to feel a sharp pain in his chest and began to cough up blood. Mitsuo would end up going to the doctor and finding out it was the same thing that took both of his parents. He had tuberculosis. After learning he had tuberculosis, Mitsuo would spiral and go insane. Part of the reason that drove him insane was that the town had learned that he had tuberculosis. After the town had learned that Mitsuo had fallen sick with tuberculosis, they began to treat him differently. They would insult him and shun him. He became an outcast. After the women found out that he had TB, they would reject his sexual advances. This enraged Mitsuo, and they would make him hate the people around him, and he would end up wanting revenge. You see, back then, as you might know, tuberculosis had no cure and was regarded as a deadly illness. Although it was possible to survive getting tuberculosis, the chances were low. Feeling lonely and shunned, anger began to consume Mitsuo. Thinking that the illness would take him, he came up with a plan to get back at everyone who wronged him. And he made this plan very public. He would threaten those he hated and would also tell his neighbors about his plans. Luckily, his neighbors would tell the police about his threats. Police would then go to Mitsuo's house and confiscate his weapons. Once there, they confiscated a gun that Mitsuo had before leaving. Knowing that his neighbors betrayed him and he couldn't trust them anymore, he decided to stay quiet, but this did not mean that he wouldn't go on and execute his plan. Unfortunately for everyone around him, Mitsuo was one step ahead. Mitsuo had hid a shotgun before the police got there. May 21st, 1938. Armed with a katana, an axe, and a shotgun, Mitsuo was ready to get revenge. Mitsuo began by cutting off the electricity line, plunging the village into darkness. Mitsuo's first victim was his grandmother, the woman who had raised him and took care of him all his life. He would then sneak into the houses of his victims before shooting them or killing them with his sword or axe. This massacre would last for 90 minutes, starting at 1:30 a.m. I don't understand how no one heard a single shot or something. This went on for 90 minutes and I can't wrap my head around how no one heard nothing. I guess it was late at night and everyone was sleeping, but it doesn't make sense. After killing his grandma, he ended up killing 29 neighbors and villagers, bringing the death toll to 30 victims, which was about half the village at the time. Mitsuo specifically targeted those who he believed wronged him and insulted him. After finishing his murders, he turned the gun to his chest and killed himself. In the morning, the rest of the villagers woke up to the horrific sight of half their village dead. Found around the massacre were notes left by Mitsuo. Amongst these notes, he would explain his reasons for the massacre, his reasons for killing his grandma, and one of the notes that he left was about how he would inevitably have to kill innocent people while going through this. Another note was about his grandma and the reason why he killed her. Mitsuo explained that he killed his grandma because he did not want to leave her to bear his punishment and be left as the murderer's grandma. Now, unfortunately, I couldn't really find any information about the town or the people after the massacre. I did, however, find that Mitsuo's sister would also end up dying from tuberculosis as well. There was also a movie based on the massacre called Ushimitsu no Mura, which in English was Village of Doom. The movie is about a guy who can't fight in World War II because he has tuberculosis, so he murders his village in anger. It has a 6.6 stars out of 10 in IMDb, I'm pretty sure. So I don't expect it to be that good. Thank you so much for watching the video. That is all I have for today. I recently went to Japan and I thought it would be interesting to research a crime or a case that happened in Japan, and this one was just so insane that I had to cover it. But yeah, that's basically it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video as much as I enjoyed researching and talking about it. I do videos like this on my channel and I do want to start doing more often. I know I said that in my last video, and then like it took like a 2-3 week break. But I will start again. I'll start uploading. So if you like content like this is what I post, and it would mean the world to me if you subscribed and liked the video. But it's up to you. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a good day.